What's going on, guys? Welcome to today's new episode. Today's episode is going to be on the legend, the GOAT, Roger Gracie. I haven't done too many BJJ fighter breakdowns, but why not do one on the GOAT himself? Now, if you guys aren't familiar with the story, we're going to do a breakdown of his early life and how he made it all the way to the top and kind of his mindset and his training philosophy to help him get there. So early life, he didn't really train early as a kid. I think from like ages of 10 to like 14 he trained some judo, but he never took jiu-jitsu seriously. But it wasn't until he went to Brazil with his uncle Helio, and then he made the decision right then and there, like, hey, this is what I'm gonna do. This is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna get good. I'm gonna do whatever it takes. And that's when he started to lock in, some might say. It wasn't an easy road. He was training every day, trying to master his craft. And one thing about Roger Gracie is, like, he's not flashy. He's not doing all these barambolos or, front flips and all these crazy back takes. He's very calculated in his approach to jiu-jitsu. I would compare him to Kobe Bryant if I were to make a comparison, just because both of them go based off efficiency. They didn't really plan too many moves ahead. They kind of just stuck to the basics and what works. Now, it's not the approach a lot of people take, but if we look at the best of the best, that's what they do. Roger Gracie is known for getting to mount, hitting a cross collar choke, and there's nothing you really could do about it. Now, that's probably the scariest thing, knowing what your opponent's going to do, and you are trying to do everything that you possibly can to defend it, but it's just so calculated and high level, you can't really stop it. I think Kobe Bryant also mentioned just working on like fadeaways, dribble pull-ups, and not really just imagining the moves before they happen, really just living in a state of flow and really based off intuition and feeling. And I believe he was undefeated in his professional career. So he was, doing competitions, doing his thing, then eventually earning his black belt. And at the age of 20 years old, he decided to move to London. And this is why I want to talk about kind of his training and philosophy. So he moved to London to train, and he really didn't have too many upper belts in his gym. Most of his gym were lower belts, blue, purple, a lot of white belts. And this is something I've been hearing a lot from the jiu-jitsu community, just like John Danaher, Eddie Bravo, just about training with hobbyists. Also, Mikey Musumeci has mentioned this as well, that they're able to refine their technique by just training with hobbyists, just because they have natural movements. It's not too difficult to be able to work on just advancing position. Say if you're going against a black belt, they have more advanced techniques. And if you've seen a lot of black belt matches, especially on YouTube, you can see that they're just playing like a chess match, but you really don't see too much going on compared to you see like two white belts scrapping and getting after it. You could see there's a lot more emotion, and the black belts are freaking locked in. So it's a little harder to see what's going on. But Roger Gracie, he really took advantage of that and really used that time to develop his fundamentals and skills while training with lower belts. And I would definitely check out some other videos online when it comes to that, because I feel like that's a whole separate topic in itself. And just like his mindset towards things, like I said, very similar to Kobe. This dude's locked in, going to his first match with Buchecha, which ended up in a draw. Was one of the biggest matches of his life, just because when you're competing, you're representing your family name, your team name, your legacy, and you want to make sure that you're doing everything that you possibly can to ensure that you are giving your best. And when it comes to competition, bro, Roger Gracie is not going to stop. There's no giving up. If he's tired, if he's gassed, we'll have a couple clips of him talking about, competition and fear.
Is there some fear in you leading up to this?
I mean, I'm not going to say, that I'm fearless, because everybody fears something, The fear is there, but it's like how much you let that control you. I think I was a lot more confident than fearful.
Just because he realizes, like, yo, I'm human. I feel these emotions, but it's what I do with these emotions is what's going to make the difference from me and my opponent. And that's some Kobe Bryant stuff, bro. Some cold bloodedness right there. I'm not gonna lie. And going to his second match with Buchecha, he ended up winning.
That fight, I would have to say, was probably the fight that I got nervous the most walking in, because I knew what that meant, that fight. I mean, everything for me, all my legacy was on the line. Because if I had lost that fight, I would forever be number 2.
Yeah.
Forever.
But he talks about the walk going towards that match. That was the biggest match of his life. It was in Brazil, everything on the line, on just like deciding who's the best. If he lost this match, it would leave a sour taste in his career, just because a lot of people will just base their perception off his last loss. So it really meant a lot to him. But he talked about doing his best, having a game plan, and doing his everything that he possibly can to make sure that he has the best outcome. I find Roger Gracie's story very inspirational, just because it's like he's not the strongest, he's not the fastest, he doesn't have the flashiest technique and doing all these crazy movements, but the basics and fundamentals, I mean, you hear it over and over, right? You hear the basics, just do the basics, just work on the basics. And it sounds repetitive, but you look at the best of the best, you look at Tom Brady, you look at Kobe Bryant, you look at Michael Jordan, you look at Roger Gracie, you see all the time and effort put in. It's really about working on the same types of things. Bruce Lee has a quote: "I don't fear a man who does 1,000 kicks. I fear a man who practices a kick 1,000 times." So I think we could use that, and we could apply it to our own training when it comes to working on techniques or certain movements or patterns or reactions, to be able to better ourselves and to improve. And we have to ask ourselves, like, what are we trying to do with this sport? Why are we trying to improve? What does it help with, And I also find Roger Gracie's story inspiring, because he also wasn't scared to do MMA. MMA is one of the scariest things you could do. You're literally hopping in a cage with someone else who wants to freaking beat you up. You know what I mean? And he hopped in there. He did his thing.
The one light heavyweight world champion, Roger Gracie.
The first fight he did with Buchecha, he was training MMA, so he didn't feel like he was on point. But the one thing with jiu-jitsu is, like, man, once you stop doing it for a little bit, the things start fading away. Lyoto Machida has a great quote. It's like martial arts is like hot water, and once you stop heating that water up, it starts getting cold. So I think even with the best of the best, if you're not training consistently, if you aren't showing up to the gym or getting on the mats or applying the technique that you learn, that stuff does start fading away. And it's about like what you want to do with the skills that you have. So, no one really forced him to become the best of all time or to be considered one of the best, but he decided, hey, this is what I'm going to do, and no one's going to get in my way. And that's exactly what he did. Just like, him hunting for a submission. He knows what he's going to do. He's doing everything that he possibly can to get the sub. And most of the time, I think every single time, he did that. So shout out to the legend Roger Gracie. And if you guys made it this far, I appreciate you guys for giving me your time. If you guys enjoy this type of episode, please leave me a comment down below, and I'll be sure to make more of these in the future. So appreciate you guys. I'll catch you guys on the next episode. We out. Peace.